I'll never look at a shiny Eevee in the same way again. Ever. It started only a few days ago. I was on the internet looking for action replay codes. I really wanted one for either a shiny Vulpix or a shiny Eevee. Then I found one for that shiny Eevee I wanted so much. The code was long, but I was willing to take the time to put it in. It took about 15 minutes to put in the code, but I was so excited to get the code into action. I started my Soul Silver game up with the code on. I clicked on continue, and my previous save data came up. I was saved right in front of the Pokémon Center. I rushed into the place with my Typhlosion, following behind me. I went to the PC and pressed A. Claws booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I pressed the L and R buttons down and moved to box 5 where a shiny Eevee was supposed to come up. I moved the cursor over the Eevee. It was named E, and it was level 1. Its moves were Tackle, Growl, Sand Attack, and Swift. I took out my level 1 Giratina from my party and put it into the first box of the PC. Afterwards, I put E in my party. I wanted to trade it into my Heart Gold version, since it was the one I always play. I got my other DS and popped Heart Gold into it. I turned it on and clicked continue. Once both my players were in the Union Room, I started the trade. I traded a Cubone onto my Soul Silver in return for E. Once the Pokemon were traded in onto the separate versions, I make both players leave the Union Room and saved one at a time. Once turning off the system Soul Silver was in, I went to playing Heart Gold. I wanted to clone E so I could get the rest of the evolutions. I wonder if I have a Thunderstone, I wondered to myself as I opened my character's bag. The only evolution stone I had was a Water Stone. Vaporeon will do for now, I guess. I clicked A on the Water Stone and clicked on E. I watched as the Eevee evolved into a pink Vaporeon. Once the evolution process was done, I saved the game and turned it off, as it was time for me to go to bed. Several days passed. I gotten all the shiny evolutions except for Flareon. If that didn't matter to me, I'd get it later. I wanted to get E back onto my Soul Silver. I got my DS and popped in my Action Replay DSi along with Soul Silver. Once the code list loaded, I clicked on the shiny Eevee code and started up the game. I clicked continue as soon as the option came up. I was saved in the Pokemon Center this time. I ran over to the PC. Claws booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I was already in box 5. I moved to box 6 and held down R and L buttons. I moved to box 5. Instead of an Eevee icon on the box, there was an egg icon. I moved my cursor onto it. It was a bad egg. I moved the egg to the side of the box and tried again. Another bad egg. I moved this egg to the bottom and tried for a third time. This time, E appeared in the box. I moved E back onto my party. I wanted to train him. I disregarded the fact that I had 2 bad eggs in my PC and logged off the PC. I ran out of the Pokemon Center to train E. I had the max EXP code on, so this would be easy. After flying to Goldenrod City on my Ho-Oh, I ran out of the city, knowing that I had sneaked past some of the trainers. Once a trainer had spotted me, I sent out E. The opposing trainer sent out a level 10 Diglett. I returned E and sent out my trusty Typhlosion. After the foe's Diglett attacked, I selected Typhlosion's command. This wouldn't be hard at all for him, since he was level 100, I selected Slash. Typhlosion used Slash. Foe Diglett fainted. I held down the R button so E would gain max experience points. E grew to level 2. E grew to level 3. This went on until E grew to level 37. Trainer is about to send out Zubat. Will Claws change Pokemon? I selected yes and sent out E. Go, E! Trainer sent out Zubat. I selected the fight command, then chose Swift. E used Swift. Foe Zubat died. Their Zubat died? I questioned. I shook my head and ignored it. Although, through my confusion, I had forgotten to hold down the R button to get max EXP on my Eevee. Trainer's about to send out Diglett. Will Claw switch Pokemon? I selected no this time. Trainer sent out Diglett. What will E do? I selected the fight icon and then chose Swift again. E used Swift. Foe's Diglett died. Again, the Pokemon had died. Even though this still confused me, I remembered to hold down the R button. E grew to level 38. E grew to level 39. E grew to level 40. They continued until E reached level 52. The opposing trainer didn't do anything after I beat him. Before the screen went back to the overworld, I got the evolution screen, and E was on there. What? E is evolving! The animation started showing it was trying to evolve into Espeon. I clicked the B button, since I already had a shiny Espeon. What? E stopped evolving. I noticed that E seemed to be angry. I ignored it and got onto training. After about 5 minutes or so, E was trying to evolve into Espeon again. I pressed the B button again, and E seemed even angrier at me. I was once again in the overworld. Before I could do anything, my trainer faced E, and an angry icon appeared over the shiny Eevee's head. E wants to evolve into Espeon. Yes or no options came up. Being that I didn't want it to evolve into Espeon, I clicked no. The angry icon appeared over E's head again, and the small sprite jumped up and down as if it were throwing a tantrum. E wants to evolve. Another yes or no option came up. I clicked no again. E didn't do anything this time. I opened my party and noticed all my Pokemon were now bad eggs, except for E. I clicked on E, then on summary. E's sprite had an evil-looking smirk on its face and red eyes. I was starting to get tired of it. I went to a Pokemon Center and went to the PC. Claus booted up the PC. I clicked A on Bill's PC. Pokemon storage system activated. I selected E, then clicked on release. E won't leave without a fight. Suddenly, I'm dragged into a random encounter. E wants to fight. Go, Typhlosion! There were two things I noticed here. The first was thing that I had my Typhlosion back. The second thing was that both E's and Typhlosion's sprites were bloody. E still had that grin on its face, and there was now blood on its eyes and ears. Typhlosion's sprite looked very much like it was in pain. Blood was dripping from its mouth and nose. Flesh was exposed on its forehead, and the flame on its neck looked weak. What will Typhlosion do? I clicked the fight command, then chose flamethrower. Typhlosion is scared. What? I whispered to myself. I didn't know Pokemon would get too scared to attack. E used bite. The damage dealt much damage to my Typhlosion, but it wasn't down yet. There were more blood on it than it was before. What will Typhlosion do? Fight. Flamethrower. Typhlosion is scared. I sighed. Again? I whispered. E was killed. Typhlosion has died. No! I yelled. I was glad my dad wasn't home when I said that. Claus is out of usable Pokemon. Claus fell victim to E. I was once again confused. What does it mean by fell victim? I was back in the overworld, but I was in what seemed to be Ilex Forest instead of the Pokemon Center. The forest was a dark red instead of its normal green color. Bones and rotting flesh were strewn across the area. The little pond was blood red too. At this point, I was starting to feel sick to my stomach. Then I noticed something. E was right in front of my trainer. E's sprite jumped up and down. E wants you to suffer. I was getting too scared to go on with this. I moved my thumb towards the power button. Don't even try it. You're not getting away from me. A voice came through the speakers of my DS. I assumed the voice belonged to E. The screen turned black, and the only sound I could hear was the sound of slashing. When the overworld came back, I saw my trainer laying on the ground in a pool of blood. He had an arm and leg missing, and his eyes were pitch black. I presumed that his eyes were ripped out. E's sprite jumped up and down again. Then a happy icon appeared over E's head. I tried turning the game off again, and to my surprise, it worked this time. I sat on my couch speechless and breathed hard for a moment before turning it back on. Clicked on Soul Silver once I was on the DSi menu. After a tile screen came up, I was immediately taken to a wild encounter. My trainer sprite was missing his eyes and an arm. I swallowed hard. This greatly disturbed me. Then the opposing Pokemon appeared. E attacked. I noticed that E had shiny Espeon's ears, tail, and a jewel. Blood was dripping from its ears, tail, and jewel. Its eyes were red and also had blood dripping from them. Its cry was like a demonic version of Espeon's cry. The only option was ball. I clicked on it. Claus used one Pokeball. E goes into the ball. It shakes once, and again. Then E breaks out. E doesn't want to go back. E used kill. Oh no, I said quietly to myself. There was a flash of crimson red before a text box came up. E has killed Claus. The screen went back to the overworld. My trainer sprite wasn't there. E's sprite was now grinning widely. You should have let me evolve. E's voice echoed through the speakers of my DS. The game turned itself off as E's finished talking. I was too terrified to turn it back on. I threw my DS at the wall, and surprisingly, only my Soul Silver game pops out of it. I picked up the game cartridge and threw it in the trash can in the corner of my room. I sat there on my couch, wondering what had just happened. I turned on my TV, and the screen was black. I figured I had just left it on the channel I used to play my Wii. I turned through channels before leaving it on 29. The screen remained black. I sighed and pressed the power button. Before I could, an eerie voice comes to the speakers. You should have let me evolve. All I ever wanted to do was evolve.